So let's start in child's pose today. And this can actually be really intense starting out for some of us. It's funny because this is like the classic resting pose, but it's not always restful for everybody. So that might mean that you need some props for your head, maybe even like a cushion from the couch for your belly if you're a little tighter. Sometimes it can feel nice to give yourself a little support underneath the thighs as well. So use whatever you need so that this isn't just absolutely excruciating. And of course, if this is just a little bit easier for you, you can come into the full expression of the pose and then just play around with where you want to have your arms. So they could be stretching forward. They might be in more of a cactus shape. Sometimes it's nice to have them by the side. The shoulder heads kind of just dip down a little bit. So play around for a moment, see what's calling to you. And then go ahead and take a few deep inhales through your nose. And then as you exhale, open your mouth, sigh the breath out, sigh the week out, kind of just like letting go of everything that's happened the past several days so you can move into your weekend refreshed, kind of clear-headed, ready to maybe get some things done, but also enjoy a little self-time, a little social time, whatever you have on the plate. And after you've exhaled that breath out through your mouth a few times, begin to find your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. Just allow that sound to really help quiet and focus the mind. And that won't be perfect. Some days it's not easy. That's okay. Just do the best you can. So we practice this so we get better at it. Do a little scan in your body. Have you started to grip in places that you don't need to? Are the shoulders tensing up around the ears? Is there a little tension in the inner thigh, the groin? Maybe you need a little support for your head. Maybe things are starting to release and open up a little bit so you can move in a little deeper to this pose. So always just kind of observing, watching, just seeing what's going on. Good. If your arms are by your side, go ahead and stretch them forward. And I want you to reach them so far forward that as you spread your fingers and press evenly into all 10 knuckles, you feel the forearms start to firm up off the mat. So it's as though you're coming into downward dog. We're not going there yet. We're going to keep firming into this right hand. So in this child's pose shape, we're going to just thread the eye of the needle. So you're going to reach that left arm underneath the right. And you can do palm facing up or down. You can kind of even just play with that left hand, see what feels better. Maybe your head rests on the ground. Perhaps you're resting it on a block or a blanket, particularly if you're a little tighter in that left shoulder. You're going to be feeling a pretty good stretch here. Another moment or two here in this pose. Good, deep inhale. And then exhale, just make your way out of this. So find that extended child's pose, arms reaching forward, they're active. And then thread this right arm underneath the left, maybe landing on your right ear, or head on a blanket or a block, feeling that stretch through that right shoulder. Might even be feeling this in the neck a little bit. And just kind of paying attention to what's happening in your body. How is this side different? Good, nice deep inhale. Exhale, make your way out here. So finding this extended child's pose and then rock up to your tabletop. You might need to bring your wrists underneath your shoulders here, and let's start to move into our cat-cow. So inhale, keeping the arms nice and straight. Chest comes forward through the gates of your shoulders, gaze forward. As you exhale, pull your belly button to the back ribs, let the neck release down. Inhaling, finding that arch. As you exhale, you round in, and then just continuing like this here. So gently warming up the spine, hooking up movement with breath. You can firm down into your shins here. And just kind of finding this idea of vinyasa. Also just noticing how the spine is feeling as we gently start to open it up. Couple more rounds. And then we're going to inhale, come back to a neutral spine. So let's do our thread the eye of the needle from this tabletop here. So rooting down into your right palm, go ahead and thread that left arm underneath. So again, landing on that shoulder or ear, perhaps on a blanket or a block. And you're going to find that you can access a little more twist here. So you're really rolling those left ribs to the right. And let me go ahead and mirror you here. I was mirroring you. It's a Saturday morning. The caffeine hasn't hit. Actually, I don't know if I was. Nothing is making sense anymore. Left, right. All right. If you'd like to reach your right arm up, feel free to do that. And then maybe externally rotate, reach around. Bring fingertips to the inside of that left thigh. Or grab a piece of shirt, piece of pants. So you're just finding a little leverage to press that right shoulder head back a little deeper. Are you breathing? Good, inhale, stretch right fingertips up. As you exhale, unwind. So coming back to your tabletop, and then we take the second side. So rooting down into the left palm. I think I've got it sorted out at this stage. Reach your right arm underneath. Land on that right shoulder and ear. Few breaths like this. Really feel these right ribs wrap to the left a little bit. It might just be the tiniest amount, but there is some twist here. And then you stay here like this if this feels like enough in your body. Otherwise, you extend your left arm up, externally rotate, bend the elbow, grab a piece of shirt. A couple of us might get fingertips to the inside of that right thigh. We're just finding leverage so we can lift left shoulder head up towards the ceiling a little more. Breath smooth and steady. Good, inhale, left fingertips reach up. As you exhale, you unwind here, come back to your tabletop. And then let's walk our hands forward a couple of inches. Shift forward so shoulders come slightly ahead of the wrist. Keep the belly lifted, keep the hips lifted as you exhale, elbows bend an inch, 2, no more than halfway. Keep the shoulder heads lifting. Gaze forward. Are you breathing? And then land in one piece on your belly. All right, so the tops of the feet press here. You're rolling, or you're pressing into all 10 toenails, rolling a little bit to the outer edge of the foot. Let's bring our arms by our side, so palms face in towards each other. Just land on your forehead. Keep anchoring into your feet a few times here, moving with the breath. As you inhale, head, chest, arms lift. Exhale, lower down. So a version of Shalabhasana. Inhale, same thing. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. As shoulder heads lift, feel the shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale up, feel the pubic bone, hip bones pressing down into your mat, anchoring you. Exhale, lower. This time we inhale, lift up. Maybe lift the arms a little higher. Perhaps you have the flexibility in the shoulders and you want a little more stretch there. You can interlace your fingers. If that's not happening, just keep stretching back their fingertips. They're on either side of you. Maybe just lifting the arms a little higher. And just check in with the legs. They're active. And then let's stay here. Keep anchoring down into your feet. We're going to take the arms out wide, so palms facing down. This almost gets into the mid back a little more. You can feel that strength happening. And again, your gaze is forward, so we're not tucking the chin. We're not throwing the chin up towards the ceiling. We're kind of just splitting the distance, front of the neck, back of the neck, nice and even. And then let's bend the elbows, fingertips land underneath the shoulder heads a few more times, moving with the breath, low cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen forward. Good, exhale, lower down. Inhale, extension forward and up. Exhale, lower. Good, inhale, extend, lengthen. One more, exhale, lower down. Inhale here, hold your Bhujangasana, squeeze the elbows in a little more. And then without pressing into your hands, see if you can just lift a micromillimeter more. These back bends on our belly are so good for creating strength in these muscles in our back. And we tend to overemphasize the front of the body when we think of core strength. This is 50% of the equation here. All right, so we press to our tabletop. Curl our toes under, shift the hips up, keep a bend in your knees so you can get lots of length through your side body. And then just begin to pedal feet back and forth, nice and easy. Feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. And kind of like our child's pose, sometimes yoga teachers refer to our downward dog as a resting pose. I call bullshit, especially if you tend to be a little tighter. If you're newer to yoga, this pose is incredibly challenging. And the first one of the day is always a little rickety. So just know that as we start to move a little bit, this pose is going to fall into place too. It's going to get at least a little bit easier. Go ahead and come to a place of stillness. Your feet are hips distance apart. You're just gazing between them. Inner thighs are spiraling back as you stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling any amount, maybe with that deep bend in your knees still. And then nice and easy, just start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. And then have a bend in your knees so that you can lay your belly down on your thighs. Really try to let the back of the neck lengthen and release. It's challenging to do. These muscles in the neck want to hold the skull up. Keep that bend in your knees. And then slowly just begin to roll on up to standing. And then when you get there, roll your shoulders back a few times. And before we start to find a little gentle flow, let's take this right arm in front. Hold with your left hand. You can hook with your elbow. So just getting again into the shoulders a little bit. Let's just pretend that maybe you were lifting a lot of hay. Probably the shoulders are a little sore. So this pose is for you. Hey, 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 hey. All right, as you exhale, release that side, and then the left arm comes in front, hooking with elbow, holding with hand. You're just using that right hand to help press in a little bit. If you're tighter in the shoulders, if you're bulkier in the shoulders, your arm might be out pretty far. That's okay. As long as you're getting a little sensation, a little stretch in your body, doing it right. And then again, just kind of check in with that left shoulder, make sure it's not creeping up around your ear. Soften that shoulder blade down your back as much as possible. Good. Exhale, release. Let's do one more on each side. So stretch your right arm up. And then you're going to spin that palm to face behind you. You're getting internal rotation. You can actually take your left hand and help wrap that arm in. Good. Bend the elbow. And then we're just going to take our left hand on top. Gently apply a little pressure. And this just changes the stretch that you're getting in your arm, in the shoulder blade. Might even feel this a little bit in the armpit. Check in with your stance here. Make sure that you're lengthening, you're standing really tall. Make sure that you're not gripping your toes. Good, let's inhale, find a little diagonal stretch here. And then let's press the walls away. So fingertips point up towards the ceiling. Gonna get a stretch on the inseam of the arm. Good, and then curl your fingertips in towards your wrist. So a little wrist stretch. Also a little stretch on the inner arm, kind of around the elbow area. Good, release. And then left arm reaches up. Use your right hand to help you find that internal rotation, bend the elbow. And then just pressing that right hand gently down, just to help intensify things. You might not need to do that very much at all. Breath smooth and steady. Check in with that again. So our breath is the thread that weaves everything together, but sometimes we kind of lose it. Good, as we inhale, find that diagonal stretch. And then press the walls away again, make fists this time, and then circle around just several times each direction. Good work. Release your arms by your side. As you inhale, take up space as you stretch arms out and up. Maybe gaze up. As you exhale, gracefully fold in. Let the back of the neck lengthen and release, coming into your forward fold. As you inhale, hands on shins or thighs, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. You're making an L shape with your body. As you exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, taking up space as you rise up. And you can reach your arms out and up. You can reach them forward and up. Both are good. As you exhale, release down. Let's just mix it up to try it. So inhale, stretching forward and up. Good, and then exhale. Let's pass through prayer as we fold in. So just different ways of doing this. One is not better than the other. Inhale, chest extends forward. Gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. This time, stretch arms forward and up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. 3 more on your own. You can mix and match. You can do whatever feels good. Maybe close your eyes here. Really start to sync movement with breath. This almost feels like a little dance. Just enjoying this flow, enjoying the space that you're starting to find in your body, your spine, the legs. When you're back in your Tadasana, just hanging out there for a couple of breaths, just noticing how you're feeling. Gaze can be soft and gentle down at your fingertips, or maybe your eyes are still closed. Good. Let's step wide on our mats, have a block. So we're gonna come into our triangle pose here. So block is gonna go behind your right ankle. And actually before that, let's just find a little warrior two, just kind of to warm everything up. So from deep within this right hip socket, that leg turns out to 90 degrees. Left toes turn in. So hips are not squaring. They're kind of doing their own thing. We're getting this big hip opener, the front leg. This left leg is more into Tadasana, releasing down. Square your torso to the long edge of the mat. So there's almost a little bit of a twist here. Feel your tailbone anchor down, sternum stretch up. Inhale, arms reach. Good. As you exhale, sink in here. And then we're going to inhale, press that front leg to straight, arms reach up overhead. A couple times like this. Good. Exhale, release, and just kind of opening up that right hip before we come into a hold. Good. Let's do two more. Exhale in. Inhale up. And then let's exhale in. So you're going to stay like this a few times just in our reverse warrior. So inhale, right arm comes up and over. Exhale back to your Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale up. Good. Exhale, upright yourself. Two more. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Good. Inhale, reverse. Good. Let's go ahead and straighten that front leg here. Feel this length, this stretch on the right side. We're going to try to hold on to that. Right. So as you inhale, keep legs straight. And then a few times like this, exhale, shift hips to the left, lengthen. And then inhale, upright yourself again. Exhale, reach left, sit bone reaches off to the left. Inhale, everything squeezes into the midline. Exhale, just a little tilt. Nice work. These look great. Inhale to center, and this time we go for it. So exhale, reach, reach, reach. You've got all of that length. Hold on to it. If you're watching this on YouTube and you don't have a block, hand on thigh or shin or books. So the block is really nice. It's behind your foot. It actually helps us, most of us, unless we have really long arms, to lengthen here. Find more space, more room. You're pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. You're sealing into the back edge of your left foot. That back leg in this pose tends to get a little lazy. All of the work's kind of naturally happening in this front thigh. And there is a big hip opener there. Your inner right thigh is wrapping towards your outer right thigh. In this pose, so sometimes the neck hangs down. Sometimes we hold it too much. So you just want your neck to be an extension of your spine. And in that context, you could be looking down. You could be looking forward. A few of us will look up. They all just kind of stretch different things, strengthen different things. So you find the place that feels most comfortable in your body. A couple more breaths here. We're going to get into the shoulder again a little bit. So start to externally rotate that left palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. Back of the hand can press into your spine. You might be able to grab a piece of shirt. Maybe fingertips come to that right thigh. Wherever you're at, you're just getting a little leverage to press that left shoulder head back. Check in with your breath again. Send your breath to the places that are feeling a little tighter. There's always one or two in triangle pose. We're going to inhale, stretch our left arm back up. Close your eyes for a couple of breaths here. How big can you get in this pose? So take up lots of space. Good. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Just gaze down at your right toes. If you've got a block, you can grab it as you come up. So inhale, press to the front edge of that foot, right foot. Parallel your feet. Good. Release your arms down. Block is going to go behind your left ankle. All right. From deep within this left hip socket, turn that leg out to 90 degrees. Right toes turn in. We are heel to arch. So hips aren't on the same plane. Notice if your torso is coming along for the ride. Square it to the long edge of your mat so it feels like there's a little twist here. Inhale, arms reach. As you exhale, sink into your Virabhadrasana 2. Make sure you have enough space so knee doesn't track over ankle. Inhale, press to the inner edge of that left foot. Arms reach up and overhead. Good. Exhale, sink in, looking good. Good. Inhale up. Hips can be really, really tight starting out. So this is kind of a nice, gentle way to warm them up. Good. One more here. And then exhaling, sinking in, Virabhadrasana 2. Gaze out over your left fingertips. Feel this right hip releasing down as you press your left knee back, finding that hip opening. Left palm spins up, a few times reversing our warrior. Inhale, front leg stays exactly the same. Exhale, find Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, reverse. That right hand is really light on the back leg. Make sure the shoulders aren't up around your ears. Inhale. Good work. Exhale. Actually, I might have said that wrong. Inhale up. Good. Coming in here. Holding just a breath or two. And then inhale, press into that inner edge of the left leg, bringing that leg to straight. Good. Feel the outer hips squeeze in towards each other as you inhale. Come on up. And then a few times just kind of prepping our triangle pose. So exhale, lengthen. Feel a little groin stretch, inner thigh stretch there. Inhale up. Exhale, hips shift a lot to the right. Pull that left hip crease in. Inhale up. Exhaling, reaching. Last one here. Inhale up. And then as you exhale, you reach. When you can't get any longer, hand on thigh, shin. Fingertips on block. You can always change the height. Shoulder blades are stacking on top of each other. Sometimes we can lean this top arm too far back. So kind of just feel that out in your body. Press a little more to the inner edge of your left foot, the mount of the big toe, the inner heel. But as you do that, don't lose that connection to the back edge of your right foot. And then see, as you find those actions in your feet, can you lengthen a little more through the left side of your waist as you spin those ribs up towards the ceiling? And make sure that you're not like holding your neck or letting it just drop. So there's a little effort there, but head is just kind of stacking on top of the spine. So it's just an extension of that. And you can be gazing down, forward or up. Breath smooth and steady. Check in there again. And then we start to externally rotate that right palm to face behind us. Reach back, bend the elbow. Back of the hand presses into your spine. Get a little leverage. Maybe fingertips to the inner left thigh. If your arms are long enough, if there's that flexibility in your shoulders, they're all good. Keep lengthening through the left side. Keep the legs really active here. And then again, send your exhale to all of the places where you're feeling an intense stretch. Good. Let's inhale, come back to classic triangle pose and get as big as you can here. Close your eyes. Enjoy how spacious you feel in this pose. We don't get to like stretch out wide very often in life. We're usually pretty contained. Here we go. We're going to press down into the inner edge of that left foot as we inhale, rise on up. Great work. Parallel your feet, release your hands, and then you can just walk your feet in together. Finding your Tadasana pose, giving those legs a break. That was a long time to have them that wide. Before we flow a little more, let's come into a triangle pose. So start to root down into your left foot. Feel this inner left thigh squeeze in and up. Feel your lower belly pull in and up. Your sternum lift. So we try to hold on to all of that as we come up onto our right toes and then open up that hip. So what tends to happen is we pop this left hip off to the side, squeeze it in instead. And you can stay here like this. You might lift that foot to the lower leg. A couple of us might be able to reach down, just help snuggle that foot into the upper thigh, left thigh. We don't want the foot on the knee. And essentially, this lifted leg is in our triangle pose. So hip opener, slightly different configuration, but the same basic structure, especially in this upper leg. You're gazing at something in front of you that isn't moving. You're noticing if you have the death grip in those left toes. See if you can soften and kind of spread the toes out instead. And your foot will be wobbling back and forth. So the pose kind of looks static, but there's nothing static about it. Start to stretch your arms up. As you do that, release your shoulder blades down your back. If you're tighter in the shoulders, you're going to take your arms as wide as you need to. Everything is pressing in to the midline. And then maybe you start to bring your gaze up. Maybe you feel a little lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. It's like cobra pose in your upper body. And then as we exhale, hands come to heart center. Beautiful focus, beautiful work, beautiful balance. Release down, give the legs a little walk out. And second side. So rooting down into that right foot. Outer hips squeeze in. We're going to hold on to all of that as we come up onto our left tippy toes and find that hip opening. Especially here, squeeze the right hip in. You could stay here like this. This is the pose, it counts. Maybe you lift that foot, left foot to the right shin. Maybe you reach down. Bring the left foot to the inner right thigh. So the only place we don't want the foot is on the knee. Few breaths here, palms together at your heart. Gazing at something in front of you that isn't moving, a drishti that helps with the balance. Are you breathing? That also helps with the balance. Sometimes we grip and hold in these balance poses so the breath stops moving. So the breath helps us to keep a little more fluidity in the pose. Again, that idea that there's all of these micro movements happening. Start to stretch the arms up. You could just pretend that somebody is gently pulling up on your wrist so you're getting a little longer. And that almost helps to support you too. It almost helps you to find that sense of balance. And do know that if you're struggling with this, some days the balance poses kind of fall into place. Some days they don't. For some of us, they're a little easier. For some of us, it takes years to master them. It's all good. Nailing it is less important than we think it is. Okay, finally, maybe bring your gaze up here if you want to challenge yourself a little bit. You might fall right out. That's okay. Just fall back in. Good. As we exhale, hands come down to heart center. Beautiful tree poses. Release down. Good. And then you're going to step to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Yes. Maybe have your block handy at the top of the mat just in case. All right. So as we inhale, we stretch our arms out and up. As we exhale, we hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Let's bend our knees, plant our palms, take our left foot way back. Land on that knee. All right, and then we're just gonna melt this left hip down for a few breaths. Your fingertips might be on blocks here, especially if you're a little tighter in your hip flexors. And then we're going to move in the opposite direction, coming into our half splits. So pull that right leg to straight so that right hip draws back. This is a great place to have blocks. If you're super, super tight in the hamstring, you might be upright. You could always use a wall as a little balance. Hold on there with your hand. If you're a little more flexible, you're folding in, walking your hands forward. You're really flexing these right toes up towards the ceiling. So there's always ways to modify these poses. And move them in one direction or the other. And it's also important to remember that the poses don't always need to look the same in our body as they did the last time we practiced. So some days we're tighter, some days we're a little more open. I think the sign of true wisdom in a yoga practice is being able to listen to that and being able to modify, do less sometimes, do more sometimes. All right. We're going to rock up here and we're going to come into twist. I'm going to give you the option to do this twist with the back knee down. If you want a little more, you're going to curl those toes under. So fire that thigh up. We're going to root down into our left palm. That hand might be on a block. Keep pressing to the inner edge of that right foot and then spin open. So again, kind of like our triangle pose, our shoulder blades are stacking on top of each other. And again, the neck is an extension of the spine, so it's not hanging down. We're not gripping it. It's just nice and long. You can be looking down, forward, or up. If that left leg, if the toes are curled under there, keep that leg really, really strong. That thigh is firming up towards the ceiling. One more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to unwind. If that left knee is down, go ahead and curl those toes under. Keep your hips this low, gaze forward. See if you can sneak your right foot back to meet your left foot. We're in plank pose, one inhale. And then come to your knees. Exhale, elbows bend halfway. Pause, then land on your belly. Inhale into your low cobra. As you exhale, pass through your tabletop. As you curl your toes under, making your way into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step that foot through. You might have to pick it up and move it. It's not an easy move. Land on your right knee. And then again, just a few breaths here, stretching out this hip flexor. So letting that right hip melt down. If you're a little more open, you can slide that knee a little further back. Hands can be on blocks here if you're a little tighter. Big muscles attaching. I say it often, but it's worth repeating. This is not easy. It kind of hurts so good though. And it is good to stretch out these big muscle groups. So we begin to shift into our Ardha Hanumanasana. So our half splits. That left leg begins to straighten. Your left hip is pulling back, right hip forward. So both hips are facing the same direction. You can be pretty upright here if you're super tight in the hamstring. Again, just use a piece of wall to help you balance if you need to. If you're a little more open, you're walking forward. So you're thinking a little forward fold. You're keeping a sense of cobra pose in your upper body, however. Good, breath smooth and steady. And then let's rock forward till we make our way into our twists. Again, options. So you can keep the back knee down, press into your right palm, the shoulder is over the wrist, press to the inner edge of this left foot, spin open, shoulder blades stacking on top of each other, wrapping those right ribs up. If you want a little more here, you can curl those right toes under if you haven't already. Firm that thigh up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades are stacking on top of each other. And even in this pose here, we don't want the shoulders up in the ears. It can happen even in this configuration. So see if you can find that idea of shoulder blades releasing down and squeezing in. Breath smooth and steady. It's a little harder to fill up on the inhale in this twist. See how big, expansive you can get on that inhale. Good. As you exhale, you unwind. We're going to step our right foot to meet our left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Rooting into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Great work. As you exhale, hands come together, your heart. So we're going to just flow all of that together, one movement per breath for our second side of that Surya Namaskara C. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, fold in. Try to keep space as you come into this forward fold. Inhale, gaze comes forward. Step your right foot back. Land on that knee. And then really exhale that right hip flexor down. Inhale, pull back into your half splits. Good. Exhale, come forward and then root down into that right palm. Inhale, open up into your twist. Maybe back toes are curled under. Good. As you exhale, unwind, curl toes under, step to your plank pose. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, shift forward, come to knees, mini chaturanga, pause, and then lower onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, pass back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step foot through, move it forward if you need to, land on your left knee. Little inhale here, and then exhale, really sink that left hip down. Inhale, find your half splits. That leg doesn't have to come all the way to straight, especially in this flow. Exhale, rock forward again. Root into that left palm. Inhale, open up into your twist. And then if your back toes aren't curled under, curl them under. Unwind on the exhale, step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet. Stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Just close your eyes here. Take a couple of breaths. Just notice how you're feeling. Notice how tall you're standing. And yes, there's effort standing here, but there's also this that's tempered with this sense of ease. Working where you need to, softening where you don't need to be working so much. Good, and then we're gonna lace our arms by our sides. We're gonna come into a hip opener here. So I'm going to give you a couple options today. We're going to come into our double pigeon, so seated. So for many of us with tighter hips, you're going to sit up on a cushion, some blocks, a blanket or two. And we're going to take our right shin in front of our left shin, and then maybe you want to have some blocks here. So this is option A. You really want to cross in the center here. For those that are a little more flexible in the hips, you might be able to stack your shins on top of each other. Most of us aren't going to do that. If your knee is lifting up a little bit, just come back to your Sukhasana. If knees are lifting a lot too, that's an indication that you need more support underneath you. So from here, we inhale, stretch arms up. And then exhale, hinge forward at your waist. And as you continue further, you're going to feel this stretch in the outer hip. So you might not go very far at all if you're tighter. So hands could just be resting on blocks. That's called bringing the floor closer. Few of us might come in deep enough to rest our forehead on something. So a little something for everybody. If this pose isn't working for you today, you're going to come onto your back and we're just going to do thread the eye, or not thread the eye of the needle, our reclining pigeon pose. So your right ankle would cross over that left thigh, left knee, flexing the foot, and then you're going to get that beautiful right hip stretch on the right side as well. So you could stay like this. If you want to go a little deeper, you could bend your left knee into your chest. Right hand goes through that triangle you've made, interlacing fingers around your thigh or your shin. Good. And we're going to have a nice long hold in these poses today. So a couple of minutes. So back out a little bit if you need to. Just know that you have some time and space to melt a little deeper into this pigeon pose. So just observe as you come into these longer held poses. For a lot of us, the chatter starts to kick up. So when we're flowing and moving with the breath, that's almost like we've got a little something to chew on, something to focus on. But when we're in these long held poses, we can start to worry about the to-do list. Sometimes these poses are kind of really intense. There's a lot of sensation. So we kind of can't stop thinking about that. So maybe that means you need to back out a little bit. It can also be really helpful to count your breath. So inhaling to the count of 6 or 7 or 8, and then exhaling to that same number. So again, that just gives the brain something to focus on, something to chew on. Got a few more good breaths here on this side. Good. As you inhale, slowly start to roll on up if you're on your back. Just release down. So seated legs extend, give them a little shake. And then recross with the left shin in this, crossing in the center of the right shin. And sitting up on something, you might need more or less for this side. You can stack shins if that's available in your body. And then if you're on your back, you're crossing your left ankle above your right knee, flexing that foot. And you want to flex the foot wherever you're at. That just helps to protect the knee joint. Good. Inhale, arms reach. As you exhale, fold in. If you're on your back, you can start to bend that right knee in towards your chest any amount. This side could feel really different. So kind of observing that. And again, plenty of time to melt into this pose. So don't feel like you have to hit the peak of the pose right at the beginning. Kind of ease your way in. Listening to that sound of your breath, counting the breath if that's helpful for you. And maybe for you, it's just easy to drop into this quiet space, not think about anything. So enjoy that sense of calm, that sense of peace, if that's where you're at. And if you're not there, that's okay too. Know that you're getting better at dropping into this mindfulness place, this quiet place. Doesn't have to look perfect. Good, a couple more breaths. Good. So if you're on your back, just make your way out of whatever version of reclining pigeon you're in, and then just hug your knees into your chest. If you're upright, slowly roll on up. Uncross legs, give them a shake. And then if you're seated, you can give your knees a squeeze into your chest here. Maybe just dropping your chin towards your knees. And then we're going to come in to our final resting pose, Shavasana, from here. Before you get there, Might feel nice to just take a quick little supine twist to each side. If you're ready to just drop right into your Shavasana, you're welcome to go there. So see what you need to feel complete here. Sometimes a little happy baby can feel nice too, kind of get into the hips. And as you eventually make your way into your Shavasana, just check in with your lower back. If you're in classic Shavasana, so legs extended straight, and you're feeling any tension, a little tug in your lower back, just slide something underneath your knees, blanket, blocks, or maybe make the choice to bend your knees, take your feet wide, and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. Let's take one more deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. And then completely surrender here. Soak up these final moments of your yoga practice. Just give yourself this space, this time before you move into the rest of the weekend ahead. Shavasana. Next inhale is deeper. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. And then wiggle fingers and toes, bring a little movement back to your body. Staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other, just find the fetal position. And then you're going to use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And just notice how you feel here. Notice the space, the ease with which you're sitting, even the strength. Observe how the breath has shifted from when we started, so it's a little deeper, a little richer, a little fuller. Hopefully the headspace is feeling a little quieter, calmer, maybe even a little sense of happiness and joy. So soak all of that up. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up, for making it happen. And just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart and just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you.